Disturbing details from the front lines. Utah caregivers working in New York hospitals share the raw realities they're facing in an emotional story you'll only see here.
Plus, multiple off-road accidents happening in Tooele County this weekend, including one that turned deadly. What authorities want riders to know to stay safe.
In a sign that Utah is making progress in the fight against COVID-19, restaurant dining rooms may soon reopen, but they need more of these. I'll explain the safety measures they're taking to protect both employees and their customers.
And with a dry April so far, any chance that we can squeeze out any rain this last week of April? I'll let you know the forecast.
Live from Fox 13 Studios, this is Fox 13 News at 9.
Our top story tonight, the grim reality one local nurse is sharing about the COVID-19 pandemic at the current epicenter of the crisis, New York City. Intermountain Healthcare selected 100 caregivers to assist healthcare workers on the front lines in NYC.
Fox 13's Katia Collins shares one nurse's raw truth about what they're facing on a daily basis in a story that you'll only see here.
Almost 2 weeks ago, Haley Jangard dropped everything and went to New York. She spoke with me about the reality of the situation there. And we should warn you, some of the descriptions are disturbing.
It's a war zone. I don't know how a better way to describe it.
Deep in the trenches of the COVID-19 pandemic.
It looks like a third world country in here. This is not what you would expect to see. This is a healthcare system in crisis.
In New York hospitals.
No way. This is America. There's no way there's body trucks. There's no way patients aren't getting proper care. There's rules, there's protocol. We follow those. That's impossible.
A harsh reminder, the statistics are not just numbers.
There's bodies that are just laying in the beds at the hospital because we don't have enough room to put them into the trucks. Like, we're just running out of room. It's honestly looks like a war zone.
A battle many patients fight alone.
I've seen people die. That's not something new to me. But what is new to me is people dying alone. You'll walk in and the patient had died alone, or I guess with a roommate they've never met. They died with patient A or patient B next to them.
Along with the emotional toll and unexpected challenge coming from the very equipment meant to protect caregivers.
Cheeks were all raw and red and hives, and then when I woke up this morning, there was like pus on my pillow from my cheeks being raw right here.
But glimmers of hope keep Haley going strong.
Everyone comes out their window and bangs pots and pans and cheers for 5 minutes for the healthcare providers, because 7 o'clock is like when shift changes, and so then night shift and day shift can see that, and it's incredible.
Now Haley hopes to open the nation's eyes to the reality she's seeing.
I thought if I share this, maybe people can understand how real this really is. They don't want their loved one to be the one in the hospital that has to die alone, and they don't get their brief phone call because we're out of iPads.
Haley and many other caregivers from Intermountain Healthcare will return on May 2nd, and they will use their experience to help patients here in Utah. And we, of course, applaud and thank them for their services. In Murray, Katia Collins, Fox 13 News, Utah.
Meanwhile, the state of Utah has surpassed 4,000 cases of COVID-19. 175 people tested positive for the virus just today. The death toll remains unchanged from yesterday at 41 people. More than 95,000 have been tested now, and Utah's positive test rate is 4.3%. Later in this newscast, we're going to take a look at how restaurants are preparing to reopen this week.
Now to a developing story, yet another accident in Tooele County involving an ATV this afternoon.
This comes following two major crashes just in the last 24 hours in the same area. Fox 15's Elle Thomas joining us live from BLM State Office in Salt Lake City with the latest numbers. Elle.
Yeah, hey Kirsten and Brian. Bureau of Land Management estimates there were roughly 2,000 people in the Tooele County area today. That means it was busier than the Easter holiday. Now, as this pandemic continues, they hope people across the state will slow down and be a little more cautious.
Near 5 Mile Pass in Tooele County, This is a recognizable sound. With Ryder.
I've pretty much grown up riding out here.
After Ryder.
I was out here having some fun with the family.
Anxious to take on the trails.
Oh, there was a bunch when we got here. Oh, it was full. It was very full.
You can just see it. There's a lot of people out here.
But with more people comes more accidents.
The speeds that some people are riding out here, anything can happen.
And in the last 24 hours, we've seen a number. On Saturday, a man lost his life in an ATV rollover. His passenger airlifted to the hospital in serious condition. On Sunday, more of the same. Another woman airlifted in critical condition after a separate rollover. And most recently, a woman taken to the hospital after being hit by another rider.
It hits close to home when someone gets hurt. You don't ever want to see that happen with anybody.
Tragic mistakes deputies say no one wants to see happen.
Unfortunately, some people go faster than they should on these dirt roads and maybe aren't following the same rules of the road as they would normally on a paved road, and that leads to more accidents. I would say just make sure you're safe yourself and be courteous.
The BLM says they aren't sure if this busy trend is going to continue. Still, they hope people everywhere wear helmets, don't take risks, and be much more careful than usual. Live in Salt Lake City, Elle Thomas, Fox 13 News, Utah.
Good reminders, Elle. Thank you. Right now, the U.S. Forest Service is keeping a close eye on a fire near Farmington. It's been burning all afternoon. You've likely seen the smoke if you're in that area. Fire crews have named it the Shepherd Fire. That's because it's in Shepherd Canyon. Right now, crews believe downed power lines may have sparked the flames in this dry area. It's also noteworthy because it's very early in our fire season, and firefighters don't have all the resources they usually have as they work to put this fire out. Tomorrow morning, 15 Forest Service firefighters will go up to Shepherd Canyon to assess this situation, but for now, crews are passively monitoring the fire as it continues to smolder.
Well, meantime, it's a complete 180 over in Little Cottonwood Canyon on White Baldy. Check out these videos sent to us by some folks getting some backcountry powder. What a day to skin up and take advantage of the late April snow. But down here in the valley, we're going to see some of the warmest days of the year coming up this week.
Yeah, Breck Bolton in the Weather Center. And Breck, talk about a tale of two cities, a fire right next to backcountry skiing.
I know, fire in the foothills, but skiing way up in the mountains where, as we look at Little Cottonwood Canyon, Thursday into Friday morning, they picked up 6 to 8 inches of new snow, but it has been dry, of course, here throughout the valleys and really dry throughout the whole month of April. It is a little bit of concern as we look at that fire up near Farmington because it has been so dry, as we're going to be allowing, at least in the overnight hours, as temperatures right now in the 60s. Winds not much of a factor there, as we'll be definitely keeping our eye on the weather conditions. We're not expecting to find winds picking up, but you mentioned the hot temperatures and low humidities that we're experiencing across the state. Let's take a look at the official highs statewide. We got up into the 70s, all the way up in Logan to mid-70s through Salt Lake City and Provo. Close to 80 degrees for your high today in Delta. How about 76 in Moab? 86 in St. George. We were trying to break into the 90s. We couldn't do it. Well, the reason being is because we had cloud cover across most of southern Utah during the afternoon hours where we typically do find the hottest temperatures of the day. Even earlier on, a few rain showers. Now, looking at radar currently, maybe a few light rain showers over the higher terrain for the southern mountains, turning over towards southeastern Utah, just south of Moab. Can maybe see a raindrop or two, but not much activity from this moisture as it continues to push its way southward and will exit in the overnight hours. Now, throughout the afternoon, it's been clear. It's been sunny. It's been gorgeous across the Wasatch Front. And we're going to hang on to that weather here tonight with clear conditions as temperatures, because of the clear skies, a little cooler than what we saw this morning, dipping down into the low 50s. But highs once again rebounding. It'll be even warmer. And it won't stop there. Yeah, we're going to show you this hot 7-day forecast coming up in just a few minutes.
Thank you, Breck. We'll see you in a few. Still ahead, they were forced to go from the classroom to the living room due to COVID-19. And then things changed with last month's earthquake. While one West Valley City school is making the decision to change school buildings altogether.
And with Utah starting to relax restrictions, some dentists are opening their offices once again. We're going to show you the adjustments they're making to keep people safe.
Restaurant dining rooms are close to reopening, but they need more of these. I'll explain the safety measures they're taking to protect customers and employees.
Welcome back. Governor Gary Herbert has hinted Utah's restaurant dining rooms may reopen at the end of this week.
Fox 13's John Franke takes a look at the steps owners and managers are taking to bring customers safely inside.
They are going to be stretched to their very limits.
That's Melva Sine, the president of the Utah Restaurant Association. Members of her group are set to tackle challenges as they prepare to reopen.
Restaurants absolutely do not have the funds necessary to start ordering mass amounts of equipment when at the same time they've got to repurchase inventory.
Sine hopes the state can help with that financial burden. Every employee will be required to wear a mask and gloves. Sine estimates statewide that supply will cost at least $3 million a month.
We are focused on making sure that we get all of that equipment, working with the state of Utah.
As they wait for assistance from the state, restaurant owners are working on safety. Many joined a virtual Q&A with the Salt Lake County Health Department this weekend.
Social distancing and hand washing are the two most important things that we need to be doing.
If an employee tests positive for the virus, any coworkers who had close contact with that person will be forced to self-isolate for 2 weeks or get tested.
We're putting in some mandatory hand washing guidelines that we will be tracking for the employees. In a smaller location, you could wipe out your entire staff for 2 weeks if you have a problem.
Fleming Steakhouse at the Gateway shared how it's promoting cleanliness. Steps include installing kick plates on doors to reduce touch points, sanitizing menus, pens, and check plates, and deep cleaning every table in between use.
We strip the entire table down. We spray every single surface. We allow the guests to see us doing this. We leave that on the surface for 2 minutes. Then we return, we reset the table completely fresh from scratch.
While they compete for business, restaurants want to work as a family to show customers they can come back, enjoy a night out, and not worry about getting sick.
It would be great if we had some kind of safe Utah sticker or something that we all, identified we were part of an alliance of people that were doing our best to keep a clean workspace.
While May 1st is the target date to reopen dining rooms, that is still a few days away, and it could change if Utah's COVID-19 cases dictate. In Salt Lake City, John Franke, Fox 13 News, Utah.
As things around town are beginning to reopen, elective dental surgeries are available once again. The order put in place on March 23rd prohibiting these surgeries is no longer in effect. Dentists and surgeons will once again be able to perform procedures that weren't essential. However, there will still be a number of restrictions on the surgeries.
And so we're going to alter the way we see patients by trying to keep the social distancing intact and also decreasing the amount of patients that we see at a time.
Dr. David Park with Utah Surgical Arts in Provo, who you just heard from, will start seeing patients once again tomorrow.
Many are relying on technology now more than ever, but it can be challenging to navigate, especially for seniors. So Get Set Up is a website that offers interactive technology tutorials to people aged 50 and older. It's to teach things like shopping online, using apps like Gmail, Facebook, and Uber, signing up for Medicare, and finding online exercise classes. And all of these classes are taught by other people who are in that same age group.
We train them, many of whom are retired educators, who then teach other seniors via online video how to use the most popular apps and services to live more healthy, connected, and productive lives.
So people can take the classes one-on-one with an instructor or in a group sessions, all on Zoom. So if you're interested in this Get Set Up, we have a link on fox13now.com. Well, here at Fox 13, we've started a new series over the past few weeks to help showcase the beauty that Utah has to offer. And while some of you may be going stir crazy, good time for it.
Yeah, it's called Utah Elevated. There's plenty to see across the state. We're bringing it to you little by little. Fox 13 photojournalist Taylor Murray takes us on a history lesson with the Skyfox drone above the Salt Lake City and County building.
I'm very proud that Salt Lake City has this building. My name is David Ammett, and I'm here talking about the city and county building here in Salt Lake City. This was built to serve as a seat of government for both the city administration and the county. They wanted to communicate the importance of the place, the people who lived here. They wanted to communicate that Salt Lake City had arrived, They also wanted to make civic government seem important and seem like something that people would want to engage in. Sad thing is, by the 1950s, the building was completely out of fashion. That's when people wanted chrome. But the idea was to tear down this building, and was probably, have been, if they had succeeded, that would have been a tremendous architectural loss. And the statues are here to tell a story. In fact, the whole building is an allegory. Allegory is a system of signs and symbols that are pulled together to tell a story. So you have basically the people and the landscape and the flora and fauna of Salt Lake rising to meet this heavenly layer, and down from heaven comes then all of these virtues, and this proclaims this building as sort of a center where good governance can radiate from. I'm just glad it's still here, especially as of late, Salt Lake has lost a lot of really great landmarks, or is in the process of losing these landmarks. And the fact that this survives is nothing less than a miracle.
And such a beautiful story there, and one you probably wouldn't ever know just looking at the building. Breck Bolton joining us now from the Weather Center. Breck, a big question this week. You keep talking about the driest April that we've seen, and it might be tempting for some to turn on their sprinklers, but not yet, right?
Well, here's the situation. As we get the recommendation, and specifically as we look from Utah government there, conservewater.utah.gov, for most of the Wasatch Front, they're saying put it off. Don't do it this week, except Davis County. The recommendation is you can water your lawn at least once this week. Eastern southern Utah, also once. Now, across extreme southern Utah, Dixie area, you might want to be doing it twice or maybe even 3 times where temperatures are going. Of course, we're trying to conserve, even though the snowpack is good. Water supply seems to be decent as well. I got to do our part, though. As we're looking at temperatures, yes, climbing. We're once again today the warmest day of the year. The official high in Salt Lake City, 76 degrees. Take a look at the average high for this time of year, as we should be in the mid-60s. I mentioned the 80s. We're going to get there once again along the Wasatch Front. We're going to be talking about 90s across southern Utah. Right now we're at 66 degrees, so even at this hour, temperatures even warmer than our average high. Winds fairly light. We've got mostly clear conditions. Now, as we are going to allow temperatures to be well above normal for an extended period of time, we're accelerating the spring runoff, where in the month of May, especially the first 3 weeks, we kind of get to our peak there. But for this week, because of these temperatures, we'll be noticing the rivers will be running fast and cold, especially as we go from Thursday into Friday. So as a reminder, keep children at a safe distance. Also be mindful of your pets as well if you're doing any hiking or traveling through some of the canyons near some of those creeks and rivers. Now, across the state, earlier on, we had the clouds across northern Utah. They tracked southward, where currently we're still finding some upper level moisture and mainly seeing some clouds. Can't rule out a possibility of maybe a very light rain shower over the mountains of southern Utah. Valleys do stay dry, but these clouds are moving on. So for tonight, we're going to have clear conditions across the state and waking up with sunny skies for tomorrow morning to start things off. High pressure in place, but as high pressure has been building in, we've still been allowing a few disturbances to push north of us, but allow some clouds to come into play, and that'll be the situation across at least northern Utah for tomorrow. Let's take a look at our computer models. Again, moving the clock here tonight through tomorrow morning. I mentioned clear skies starting off on your Monday morning situation as far as commute. No concerns whatsoever. Temperatures due to clear skies overnight, maybe a little cooler as we saw very mild temperatures this morning, but we'll be getting down to the 50s along the Wasatch Front. Now, look what happens as we head into the afternoon hours. We see some clouds across the north. However, central, southern, eastern Utah, you're staying clear. You're hanging on to the sunshine. And even with these clouds, not seeing a threat of any rain, maybe near the Utah-Idaho border. And then those clouds move on, moving into Tuesday. We're going to be looking at sunny skies all across the state and hanging on to that sunshine into Wednesday. So overnight lows and waking up tomorrow morning. Again, we'll start things off in the 50s from Ogden through Provo, 40s through central Utah, mid-50s in St. George. Tomorrow we crank up the heat just a little bit more. We're in the upper 70s, 80 degrees in Provo. Going into the low 80s for Milford as well as in Richfield, 90s in St. George. Again, central and southern Utah, you've got mostly clear skies and a lot of sunshine throughout the day and hanging on to it until Wednesday, at least for St. George. There's Record-breaking temperatures are close to it on Wednesday, but 90s all throughout the week. Maybe a little cooler next weekend as we go down into the 80s. Now for northern Utah, yes, it's the driest April. We keep it dry. The rain is away. The temperatures are up. Mid-80s by Wednesday, low 80s on Thursday, 70s for next weekend. All in all, we'll keep temperatures well above normal here for the next 7 days. So yeah, watering your lawn, you might want to do it by the middle of the week at least once.
Still ahead, hear why some counties in Utah don't have any lab-confirmed cases of COVID-19 and what some elected officials are doing to keep it that way.
This is Fox 13 News.
Most counties in Utah have seen community spread of the novel coronavirus, but there are a handful of counties in the Beehive State that still have no confirmed cases of COVID-19. It's a statistic that is certainly surprising. Fox 13's Ben Winslow reports.
You can see this is what I call social distancing. I'm here on my farm, my ranch, and no one within a half mile of me. And I think that has a lot to do with it.
Beaver County is one of a handful of counties in Utah that still have no lab-confirmed cases of COVID-19. The Utah Department of Health says it's possible in smaller rural counties they've not identified cases, but they fully expect there are cases in all Utah counties.
There's a lot of people that actually believe this come through here many months ago, and they didn't know what it was. There's others that say, no, that's not the case.
Beaver County leaders say they've followed state guidance and directives on COVID-19, but haven't had to implement restrictions similar to those along the Wasatch Front. They're also not as populous, with plenty of space between them.
I want to hand it to our great people and just acting responsibly and taking this serious.
Commissioner Whitney says, unlike other places, Beaver County never closed Minersville Reservoir, but asked people to be socially distant.
Now people, it's one of the best fishing holes in the state of Utah, and people are loving it right now. But we're making sure that they're acting responsibly.
Ben Winslow, Fox 13 News, Utah.
Still ahead in the next half hour, a local school hit hard by last month's earthquake is making a big change for next school year. We'll explain. And what police are revealing about a stabbing on a Salt Lake City TRAX train today.
Live from Fox 13 Studios, this is Fox 13 News at 9.
Students at a West Valley City School were hit with COVID-19, sending them home, and last month's earthquake all back to back. Some of the ceilings at the school collapsed and structurally sensitive areas were cracked. And now those students are dealing with another big change, changing buildings entirely for the next school year.
Fox 13 Spencer Joseph explains the difficult decision made by Granite School District leaders.
Cracks in some of the structural components. Really, a lot of the aftershocks caused additional damage. So it was decided right off the bat, the day of, that students wouldn't be permitted back in the building.
This was the scene shortly after the earthquake on March 18th. Broken glass and caution tape at Westlake STEM Junior High School. The Granite School District had to find an alternative.
This was the closest facility that we could find that met all the criteria that we would need for a junior high. And that being said, we're still going to have to add some components.
Ben Horsley is talking about Westbrook Elementary School, closed a year ago because there weren't enough students attending. It can handle the number of students that are coming back in the fall. But being an extra 6 miles or so, kids aren't going to be able to ride their bikes.
Our insurance company is paying for 10 new buses for us to be able to help offset the distance and the travel.
One student that will be attending Westbrook in the fall is Rachel Ann Rice's son. She told us he isn't going to be able to have a 6th grade graduation because of COVID-19. He wasn't happy when his junior high school was closed down too. But when finding out about his new school, his eyes glowed when he saw it. He was excited about the whole student body getting to stay together.
At the end of the day, it was decided it would be best to keep them together. They're a well-performing school.
And safety ultimately has the final say.
We feel very comfortable with the decisions that are being made moving forward, and again, those being made in an effort to keep kids safe.
So what's going to happen to Westlake Junior High School? Well, the Granite School District is still waiting for a full assessment from the insurance company until they can move forward with what the plans are for the future of Westlake STEM Junior High. In West Valley City, Spencer Joseph, Fox 13 News, Utah.
3 people are dead after a plane crash in northeastern Nevada this weekend. Elko County confirming this happened Friday night near the Utah border, and the bodies were just recovered Saturday. We now know the victims are 48-year-old Thomas Van Vig, his wife Stacy, and their 8-year-old son Daniel, all from Chandler, Arizona. The FAA says it is unclear why this plane crashed, and the investigation is in the early stages.
Salt Lake City police are looking into a mysterious death at City Creek Canyon. Police say early this morning they found human bones several miles up the canyon in an extensive state of decay. Police say it's too early to determine a cause of death, but they are continuing to work this case.
In Summit County, I-80 is back open after a semi-truck's load fell off and shut westbound lanes down for hours. Take a look at the mess it made for people stuck in traffic near Summit Park today. Now, luckily, the tank that detached did not spill any of the butane gas it contained onto the road. And another plus, no one was hurt in this crash.
A man is in police custody after a stabbing on a TRAX train in Salt Lake City this morning. It happened on a Green Line train approaching the courthouse train stop on Main Street just after 10:30. Police believe the 41-year-old suspect got into an argument with the 58-year-old man before he stabbed him several times. The suspect then left the scene and came back to the train station where he was arrested. Police expect the victim to recover from his injuries.
We have a follow-up to one of our top stories last night in southern Utah. Our partners at the St. George News reporting there was a boating accident at Sand Hollow State Park. The boat was full of passengers and they were going about 25 miles an hour when it crashed into a rock. Now, a woman was thrown off the boat and then the boat went over her while she was under the water. Thankfully, she wasn't hurt. And yesterday, Sand Hollow State Park staff had to turn away visitors as the park reached capacity. Rangers warn that more traffic on the lake can cause the level to fluctuate and cover otherwise exposed rocks.
Still to come, one of the state's favorite Sunday markets forced to shut down. We'll show you when the Park Silly Sunday Market could be making a comeback.
Well, a beautiful view from our higher reservoir camera right at sunset looking over towards the mountains. Yeah, we had mostly clear skies. Looks like we'll wake up with sunny conditions across the state. Then some clouds move in. Could we see a chance of rain? I'm going to let you know after the break.
You're watching Fox 13 News. Let's connect.
Nothing kicks off the summer like the Park Silly Sunday Market in Park City, but unfortunately, organizers had to make the tough decision to cancel the event for the entire summer. Fox 13's Aaron Cox has reaction from vendors.
A street that would typically be filled with shoppers, foodies, artists, and musicians. This year, that street will be empty.
This would have been our 14th season of the Park Silly Sunday Market. It is the first time we've had to cancel any part. We've never even canceled a single date in the past.
It may not be an easy decision, but during a global pandemic,
the right thing to do was cancel the market for 2020, just for the health and well-being of our communities.
Not just the market goers will miss Sundays in the summer.
It's definitely going to affect people. We have a lot of small businesses that are sustained with just that event.
It's the vendors who will be hit the hardest.
14 Sundays throughout the summer is about half of my yearly sales. And the last summer was my third summer doing it full time. Well, I mean, every Sunday.
Mullally says she will miss more than just the sales.
We've created quite a family with those of us that are there almost every week. We know each other. It takes a certain personality to be a weekly vendor like this. And, we found our tribe.
Sundays in summer may look different, but there's always next year.
We'll be back next summer. So, and if you know any local vendors that you would have typically bought from at the Silly Market, search them out online because we still have products to sell.
Everybody just do your part, stay safe, and hopefully we get done with this sooner rather than later.
McDonald's says they are definitely planning on 2021. Their opening day should be June 6th. Aaron Cox, Fox 13 News, Utah.
Still ahead, those on the front lines protecting us when we need it most are now in need of help themselves. We'll take a closer look at their struggle on the latest edition of The Rebound.
The NFL draft was a success with viewers and some local college players. We'll look back at some of the highlights. And it was a big day for Taysom Hill, a new contract with the Saints. We'll hear from the former BYU star coming up in sports.
Fox 13 News has started a new series called The Rebound, dedicated to digging deeper into the economic impacts from COVID-19 they've been making for all of us and how we'll bounce back together.
And one of the biggest areas impacted by this pandemic are the front lines themselves, hospitals. Chris Conti looks into how some hospitals are having to furlough doctors and nurses.
Inside hospitals from coast to coast, there are healthcare workers pulling some of the longest shifts of their lives.
You know, they say every generation has an event that fundamentally changes in ways that we didn't anticipate. Well, this is that one.
Steve Norton oversees a handful of hospitals in New Hampshire, hospitals that were expecting to see a massive surge of COVID patients. While there have been hundreds of cases here, the surge has been far less than anticipated, which Steve is fine with.
That means our hospitals are not busy right now. In fact, it's a little bit of a lull right now while we try and decide where are we in the curve.
Here's the problem, though. Every elective surgery and procedure was put on hold, from knee replacements to routine checkups. Fewer patients coming in means less money coming in. Last month, this hospital lost $25 million. 675 employees had to be furloughed in April.
Every health system in the country right now is facing a very similar question.
As part of the federal stimulus package, hospitals are getting reimbursed an extra 20% for patients who have COVID and are on Medicare, but hospitals say that barely scratches the surface of their costs.
It definitely brings a level of anxiety to my job that I never thought I would have.
Allison Chick is a physician assistant who was recently furloughed.
I felt a sense of feeling very useless to the community, that I wasn't providing the services that I was trained to do.
Rural hospitals nationwide are particularly susceptible to financial collapse. Since 2005, at least 170 rural emergency rooms have closed permanently across the country. Experts believe some ERs already on financial life support before COVID won't survive.
We cannot overstate the fact that, hospitals are just too important to fail.
Hospitals and patients needing time to heal in order to rebound from this epidemic. In Manchester, New Hampshire, I'm Chris Conti reporting.
And we want to remind you we have more resources to help you rebound over on fox13now.com. So there you can click on the Rebound Utah tab. You'll find it at the top of our webpage. There you'll find more stories and resources, including information about unemployment, job searches, and small business loans.
If you have a story that showcases Utah rebounding from the coronavirus pandemic, send us an email, rebound@fox13now.com.
All right, Breck Bolton, I have a confession. I broke down. I turned on the air conditioning today.
That's okay. I think all of us will be doing that this week, especially where temperatures are going. Yeah, it's going to be a hot one, as we've been talking about. I want to share a photo, though, coming in from someone that likes to highlight sunsets, but this one she sent in of a bird that was in her backyard, a lazuli bunting, where she said, in the springtime, you see these birds migrating through Utah, so you know spring is here. But this little birdie, will get confused this week, wondering what season it is, because we're quickly kind of jumping past spring and moving to summer, at least as we look by the middle of the week, where temperatures, as mentioned, will be well above normal. Now, right now, we're in the 60s still along the Wasatch Front. These are temperatures we should be experiencing for afternoon highs, so it is very mild, above normal, and we're looking at clear skies. Now, Kirsten, you talked about how many times we should be watering our lawn, and I shared this last night. Again, as a reminder, where we turn to get some recommendations and a little guidance here from conservewater.utah.gov, how many times we should be watering our lawn, all in light blue. The recommendation is once, so it's the counties of eastern Utah, all of southern Utah, including Washington County, as we look towards Miller County, Davis County as well. So most of the Wasatch Front in the gray. The recommendation is that you don't water your lawn. I'm always advocating that we conserve. But if you want to test your sprinklers this week, I won't say a thing. It's going to be tempting because, as you notice there, the lawns are dry because it has been a dry April. Now, we're seeing a few light rain showers across the mountains of southern Utah. Those clouds, that possibility of showers, moves away quickly as we progress over the next couple of hours. Again, the valleys have been dry throughout most of the day, as it's been dry. Now, this Green right here from radar is nothing as far as precipitation is concerned. There just might be some material there in the atmosphere that we're picking up that. So it is dry, it is clear, and it will remain clear, especially as we start things off tomorrow morning. Now, this cold front and the storm moves north of the state. However, it will bring in some upper level moisture. In that, we'll see increasing cloud cover throughout the afternoon across northern Utah. So expect to see kind of like we saw yesterday, where we started off sunny, then it became mostly cloudy throughout the afternoon, but we don't see the shower threat really as we confirm that looking at our computer models. Future precipitation, where we'll find it, not really anywhere. Maybe over the Uinta Mountains. Extreme northern Utah could maybe see some brief showers in Cache and Rich counties, but for most of the state, it's dry here for the next 48 hours. And really, as we look for the upcoming week, it will stay dry. So your hour-by-hour forecast then for the Wasatch Front, we start off sunny. Temperatures will be in the 50s. Quickly climbing into the 60s by 9 o'clock. We're already into the mid-70s by the noon hour. Upper 70s for highs, but again, notice the clouds throughout the afternoon. It'll be mostly cloudy, so maybe not as beautiful as we saw this afternoon, but still, it's warm, it's hot in some areas. We're in the 80s in Provo for highs tomorrow, 80s in Cedar City as well as in Richfield, 90s in St. George, where temperatures quickly continue to climb. Tuesday and Wednesday, we're getting close to triple digits on Wednesday for St. George. You're heading to the reservoir. If you have a pool in your backyard, I know you'll be taking advantage of that. A little cooler for the weekend, but really no chance of rain here for the next 7 days, at least for St. George. Now for northern Utah, we've got the clear skies throughout the morning, becoming mostly cloudy. Those clouds move away for Tuesday. It's a sunny day, a little bit cooler, still above normal for afternoon highs. Then the 80s hit, at least Wednesday and Thursday. Some clouds in place. Friday, cooler heading into the weekend, but still those temperatures, which in a nice range of temperatures, at least for the weekend, will be in the low to mid 70s. So that chance of rain to see if we can kind of salvage April where we haven't seen the April showers. We're just not going to get it up through here, the end of April into the first part of May. We're going to keep it dry, but we get a taste of summer.
Well, there are some uncertain things about what is coming in the fall, like when things will be played, when people will be taking the field. What we do know is that they're already shelling out some money right now to some of our local folks here who will hope to cash in this fall.
Yeah, that's for sure. Former BYU quarterback Taysom Hill agreed to a 2-year deal with the New Orleans Saints, worth $21 million, and $16 million is fully guaranteed. His average salary of $10.5 million makes him the second highest backup quarterback in the NFL. The Saints are also working on a deal to bring in quarterback Jameis Winston, so Hill will have to compete for the #2 job behind Drew Brees, but he's ready.
I think right now the plan would be to probably limit some of the things that I was doing from a special team standpoint, and the role will be more focused at the quarterback position, and then finding ways to involve me offensively, kind of what we did against Minnesota last year, and in terms of snap count, creativity, and stuff like that. And as I look into 2020, I think that's kind of my vision for it.
A record 55 million viewers watched the 3-day NFL draft, which was up by over 35% from last year. 8 local players were drafted, 7 from Utah, and of course 1 from Utah State. Here's some of the highlights after they were drafted.
Oh, I'm just super excited. Yeah, it's just all excitement right now.
Chicago, I'm ready to go. I appreciate you guys for believing in me, and we're going to win some games for sure.
How you guys doing? Colt Nation, is Julian Blackman here, safety from Utah. I'm happy and excited to get down to Indy and get to work. Thank you guys so much for believing in my abilities, and I'm just excited to, bring some fire to you guys' defense.
What's up, Bills Mafia? Zach Moss here. Can't wait to get there. So excited to be a part of the team. Go Bills.
Bradley, this is Jerry Jones, and I'm sure happy to tell you we just drafted you, and you're going to have a big star on that helmet.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Jerry. Can't wait to get to Dallas. Thank you, sir.
I was wondering if you want to play some football for the L.A. Rams.
I would love to play some football for the L.A. Rams.
Yes, sir. You're awesome, bro. It worked.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Thank you. Oh, yes.
You know what? All the hard work paid off, my man. Go celebrate
Yes,
with family.
Yeah, it's good stuff there. Well, it's time where you can be the star. Here's another round of highlights from home.
Here we go.
Nikki Braun was registered to run in the 2020 Salt Lake Marathon, but since it was canceled, she ran her third marathon by herself.
6 miles
with her
in.
husband and one-year-old son supporting her.
Way to go.
And she set a new PR. This dog was after the treat inside the egg, but when it finally came free, another dog came in and got the prize. Here's some intense social distancing. Scott Moffat and his family had a paintball tournament. He said they were all winners. Well, if you want to be on Highlights from Home, send your videos to sports413now.com. I'm not sure I'm a paintball guy.
No, it's not for me. I do have a question for you, though.
Sure.
Which team has the best fan base, North Carolina or BYU? That is the question right now on social media for 12 more hours. Have you seen
The
it?
Cougars have had a great run in that little tournament. Fans are great for BYU. They're all over the world, so keep voting. Maybe they'll win a national championship.
It's using hashtag #FoxFanVote. I just tossed it up on Twitter right now. You got 12 hours. Cast your vote.
Come on, Cougars.
Thank you, Jeff. We'll be right back.
Finally on Fox 13, the Utah Symphony and the Utah Opera are teaching music to kids in a whole new way. It's called School from Home, and the Utah Opera is offering videos on its website to help you and your kids understand fundamental opera terms. I feel like Brett could belt out some notes for us, right, Brett?
Oh.
Why not? You're on the spot.
I'm trying to get my kids to just do piano lessons for 5 minutes.
Well, this might help because these free lessons are at utahopera.org, and the Utah Symphony also has free lessons for everyone, and you can check those out and more at utahsymphony.org.
What better way than to learn from the pros right now while you're kind of stuck at home, you want to learn something new or perfect that craft? You can learn it from the best.
I
from the
know, it's
Symphony.
all for free.
Great. Not
Or
bad.
rewatch your Netflix show.
Or just do that.
Or that too.
Thanks, Kirsten.
Gotta
Thanks for
catch up.
watching Fox 13 News at 9.
Stick around because QuickCast is coming up next and Sports Page after that.